What's up, guys? Welcome to today's episode of Big South Outdoors TV. Today I'm doing something just a little bit different. I'm going to tell a story first. I've said many times I used to be a truck driver. Being a truck driver, especially being an owner-operator, there was a lot of maintenance involved. And one of those maintenance chores was greasing all the parts of the vehicle. The front end, the drive shafts, the universal joints, things like that. Well, doing this kind of work, doing lawn care and landscaping, the same applies. And I had a grease gun that a friend of mine gave to me, and it never worked right. I don't know what was wrong with it, but the plunger tube that you pull out to put a new cartridge in, it would never come out but about that far. I don't know what was wrong with it, and it was give to me, so I wasn't going to put a whole lot of time into trying to figure it out. So I decided to go buy my own grease gun. So I went to my local O'Reilly's, where I do all of my automotive trading, and I bought one of the smaller handheld pistol grip type grease guns. I figured that would suffice for, having to grease the mowers and Flossie's car and my work truck. I figured that would suffice. One tube of grease every, 5 or 6 weeks would be more than enough. Well, I bought it, and we got it. Me and Nate got it out to the truck. Went to put it on, or put it together. I put the head on it, or actually I took it apart, put the cartridge in it, and put the head back on it, kept it loose like the instructions say. When I released the tube, the plunger, and tried to bleed it, it bled properly, but it wouldn't pump grease. Me and him worked on it for about 10 minutes, and it would not pump grease. So I took it back in the store. They worked on it for about 10 minutes, and they couldn't get it to pump grease either. So they marked it as defective, allowed me to exchange it for a professional grease gun. Now, the first grease gun was about $22. The second grease gun, less the refund, I had to pay. I had to pay about $8 more. But it was a full-size grease gun with the pistol grip. So we got it out to the truck. Went through the procedure. Nate read the instructions. I did the procedure, went through the bleeding process, everything. Pumped it, and grease started coming out everywhere but the hose. Grease was coming out everywhere but where it was supposed to be coming out. So I took it back into O'Reilly's. Now, I do all of my trading with O'Reilly's. This is not an O'Reilly review. This is telling you how I ended up with what I'm fixing to show you. I took it back in the store, and the guy in there that's kind of like the mechanic of the place, he worked on this grease gun for 30 solid minutes. Now, mind you, I had already worked on it for 10. Couldn't get it to pump. Grease was coming out everywhere but where it was supposed to come out. And this was a professional grease gun. Well, matter of fact, the packaging said mechanic recommended. So, I figured, for no more greasing that I have to do, maybe grease the mower once a week and the cars maybe 3 times a year, that would be more than enough. Well, sometimes you have to go overboard to get what you need. That leads me to this video. O'Reilly's ended up giving me my money back completely because they didn't have another grease gun in there that they trusted to sell me without it being defective, because they chalked it up. It was a defective bow. Now, I've said this before, and if you've ever seen the movie Blazing Saddles, you know the scene where they're using the paddle boards. Mel Brooks says, "Why do I always get a warped one?" Well, Brian always gets a warped one. Somehow, some way. If I buy something, it's going to be a warped one. Well, I'm hoping that's not the case with what I'm fixing to show you. Here's what I bought. Now, yeah, I know, it's from Harbor Freight. It's a Central Pneumatic. But I buy a lot of my stuff like this, occasional use stuff from Harbor Freight, and I haven't had any problems. Now, I did buy the extended 2-year warranty on this, and the reason why is because it's mechanical and has moving parts. But what this is, it is a continuous flow air grease gun. Now with this grease gun, you have to have an air source, like an air compressor, to make it work. And what you do is you press the trigger, which is right here, and as long as that trigger is pressed, it's pumping grease. And when you want to stop, you let the trigger go. And it's just like a machine gun, kind of, you know, like that. As long as that trigger is depressed, it's going to pump grease. So I'm going to get this opened up and we're going to see what we got. Okay, and we got the rubber tube. It looks like it is about 15 to 18 inches long, and there's supposed to be instructions in here somewhere. There they are. That's not a, yeah, there's the booklet, and things. Why in the world would they do to crease this? They should roll it up, you know, like roll the map.
I didn't fold the map.
Yeah, well, Kansas is a mess. There's a big crease right through Wichita. Roll the maps.
I like this already. It comes with its own bag. I like that. Now, this is supposed to be fully assembled. We'll see. And it is. Trigger seems to be good. Oil daily. Okay, yeah, I got to get some 3-in-1 oil. But, no. Okay, that's not, it should just pull. Oh, there it goes. It screws out. Okay. Yeah, I got to get an air connector for that, because I don't, well, I may have one out there in my toolbox. I'm not sure. But, oh, good. It's already primed. Got grease in it. That's wonderful. Or at least there's grease right there. But anyway, the specifications on this, 1 to 6. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I want to make sure I'm right. Yes, 1 to 6. So I've got a 13-gallon, so I've got a little more, but my air compressor is set at 90 psi. And as you can see right there, it says cubic feet per minute, or CFM, at 90 psi. So that's what I've got. So anyway, I am going to get this together and I'm going to demonstrate it in use. But first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's actually a cartridge in this thing, and it feels like there is. This thing is tight. Everything on it's tight. There it goes. If it's in there, I hope it don't come flying out. Okay, no. But it has been primed. And that's what I was concerned about. But it's pre-primed. So that is actually a very, very good sign. Now, I'm sure this is probably not the best grease in the world. You know, it did come from Harbor Freight, but, you know, back when I owned a semi, I think I bought my pneumatic grease gun from Advanced Auto Parts, and it worked fine. I greased my universal joints in my semi once a week, and it didn't take a lot of grease, but, you know, when you're pulling 80,000 pounds, 82,000, 85,000 pounds, those universal joints get hot unless you keep a lot of grease in them. And that's why I did that. So you'll see me wearing different clothing when this video picks back up. That's because I don't have the equipment that I need right now to continue this video. All right, as you can see, I did have what I needed to make the air connection, so I went ahead and put that on there. And I've already changed my shirt because I don't do greasy work in good clothing. Now I've read the instructions off camera, and basically it's self-explanatory, and it says loading the grease gun. There are 3 ways to load the grease gun. Cartridge, which is what this is. This is a grease cartridge, and this grease is CRC, and I'm trying to find the rating on it. It says heavy duty, and it's rated to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Load 60 pounds minimum, grade 2. So it's supposedly pretty good stuff. Well, we're gonna give it a try. But it says to load the cartridge, it says remove the container tube, which is this, from the head and draw back the plunger, which I've already done that, but I'm gonna take this off. And it is not all the way out, so I know one thing, that rascal is hard to, okay, it's all the way now. Now, it says insert the open end of grease cartridge into container. This is considered the open end where the cap is. So we're going to do that. Anytime you're putting a cartridge into a grease gun, this metal ring should seat against the body of the tube body of the grease gun. Then you peel this, the old-fashioned bottle cap type, off. And then it says remove seal, yada yada, and press plunger. Oh, excuse, I'm sorry. And tightly reattach container tube to head, which is this part. Now it says reattach tube to head tightly. Then it says D, press plunger release tab, release plunger rod, and pull down plunger handle. Okay, this is the plunger tab, this is the plunger handle. So you do that and then you press this down like that. Now, according to the instructions, it should be ready to eject grease. Now, I'm going to put this on loosely. Make sure, yeah, okay. I'm going to put this on loosely. I'm going to take it over to my trailer. I'm going to tighten it up. And then I'm going to get my compressor pumped up. And I'm going to plug it in. And then I'll turn the camera back on once I've done that to make sure this is primed to show you how it works. Alright guys, it's the next day. As you can tell, I'm in different clothing. I've got a hat on today where I didn't yesterday. This thing put me through pure agony. I tried 5 different methods to prime this thing. I went through a whole tube of grease trying to prime it to no avail. I was on the verge of packaging it back up and taking it back to Harbor Freight. The same issue that I had with the 2 previous grease guns I had with this grease gun. I've messed with grease guns all of my life, and I've never had grease guns do what these have done. But true to form, I went to YouTube. That's why I have a channel to help you guys. I went to YouTube and I typed in the central pneumatic grease gun bleeding procedure. That's what I typed in. And I don't know the guy's name. He never said his name, but he works with DLH Farms. And he was doing grease gun bleeding, and he was using electric grease guns. And he showed what to do, and I did it on this grease gun, and lo and behold, it worked. And it's a simple trick. When you put the tube of grease in this plunger is pulled all the way back. Then you put the head of this back on the tube, you tighten it up, then you loosen it up one complete turn. Then you turn this, and when you feel it as it's pulled back, you'll feel it click. When it clicks, you put pressure on it. It won't go in, but you put pressure on this thing, and then you stick the air on it, and as you pump and put pressure on this, it forces the air out from around the threads right here, because these things right here are useless. They are absolutely useless. But it forces the air out around here, and lo and behold, it started pumping grease. And I was at my wit's end, guys, but that trick worked. And so I'm gonna plug it into air, and I'm gonna demonstrate how it works. All right, I'm gonna try to get as close to the camera as I can so you can see this. Now watch. That is pumping grease. And that's how it works. I am going to be doing a video. I'm not going to do it now because it's after 6 o'clock in the evening. That's why if it looks kind of dark, that's why, because actually we're fixing to get some rain, thank you Lord. But I'm going to be doing a video of me greasing my equipment, and that's going to be a sequel video to this one. But I wanted to go ahead and get this video done and uploaded so you would know. I was, like I said, guys, I was on the verge of taking that grease gun back because I didn't think it was going to work. But I watched that other video, and see, guys, that's the important thing about YouTube. You can't find, I mean, I talked to a neighbor of mine that is a phenomenal mechanic. I told him everything I had done, and he said, well, you've done everything I would do. And I was literally on the verge of packaging that grease gun back up and taking it back to Harbor Freight. But by watching a video on YouTube, I learned how to do something that I didn't know how to do. And that was bleed a new grease gun the proper way. And now, as you can see, it works. So that's what I like about YouTube, and that's why I do what I do. Because see, if somebody else has this experience, they might not be able to find the video I found, but they could find mine. And that's why I do what I do, to help you guys. But anyway, this is Brian with Big South Outdoors TV. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, please click that subscribe button. And when you do, click that notification bell. We'd love to have you become a part of the Big South family. So anyway, this is Brian with Big South Outdoors TV saying, always remember to live big, live southern, and live outdoors. Have a good night, folks.